I'm John McFarlane. I'm Chairman of the City UK and Chairman of Barclays. Today I'd like to raise your awareness about cyber threat. We've all become used to the benefits of technology that enriched our lives and made us more productive as companies and as individuals. However, behind the scenes there are people trying to disrupt that, trying to steal our information, put us out of business in fact, and to steal our money, whether we're companies or individuals. They're very creative and they work relentlessly for 24 hours a day. We need to get ahead of it. We're not ahead of it today. We need to raise our game.
Cyber may feel like a future risk where you've got the luxury of time to do something about it, but that is not the case. Cyber is already a substantial cost to many financial firms, particularly those involved in payments and the fraud that can present. But it's also a risk at all levels in the firm and indeed to the financial system. The criminals are inside the system, people need to act on that basis and act on the assumption the breach is going to happen. And the problem, of course, is that the taller the walls you build to keep the criminals out, the longer the ladders they bring to attack with.
CIA, confidentiality, integrity and availability. Does your data need to be confidential? What would happen if it was stolen? What about its integrity? Does it have to be right? Are your networks available? Is the data available to you and so on? So those are the three particular areas of impact.
In thinking about cyber, it's important to categorize it. Cyber as a whole is too broad to act upon. So we think about three levels of attack, starting with fraud, those high volume attacks on individual customers and employees that can accumulate to be a very significant cost for the business. Then there are attacks on the firm as a whole, potentially to take data, to take money, or to disrupt the operations of the business. We've seen many examples of that both inside the financial sector and beyond. And finally, there's the attack on the whole system, whether it's through infrastructure, through the payment system, that could cause an outage in the city's ability to operate.
We absolutely need to avoid this trap of cyber being seen as a technical risk, as something for a chief technology officer or a chief information officer. I want to see an enterprise-wide sense of responsibility around cybersecurity in terms of the workforce, how to educate them about how to withstand some of these very tempting attacks. I want managers to feel responsible. I want frontline business to think what a cyber attack, a successful cyber attack, could do to their business. So the quicker we can get away from thinking about this as a technical risk with a solely technical response, the better.
We see too many firms acting on cyber as a purely technical issue, erecting a strong perimeter around their IT operations, but ignoring the fact that so many employees and customers and suppliers sit within that perimeter. So we distilled 10 questions for boards to put to management, to put boards on top of the agenda and make sure that the right things are being done. Plain English, simple questions that mean people can be held to account. Have firms thought about what could go wrong? Have you quantified the cost of those things happening? Do you have action plans lined up against those scenarios that give you a credible defense and the best chance of recovery? Are you prepared for a breach to happen? These kind of questions should give board real comfort that they know what's happening, they're in control, and they're getting regular, intelligible updates on what is in the end a complex technical subject. Insurance has an important role to play in this, because as you look at the problem through an insurance lens, you make it a financial question. When you look at what could go wrong, you want to know how bad that could be. When you look at the defences, you want to know how credible are they and how much will they limit the damage. If we then look at the financial sector as a whole, the risks here are to the system in which we have a shared exposure to our reputation, our ability to work with each other. This is not a source of competitive advantage. Cyber risk affects the reputation and operation of the city as a whole. So we need to act together. That means doing things like sharing data, information on attacks, and best practice in management. It means working on common problems like the aggregation of cyber risk in the system as it accumulates up through different channels, in looking at how we make the city's ability to recover from attack as fast and effective as possible.